Rebecca left the countryside to find better living conditions. In the new city, the capital of big events and great wealth, Rebecca got a job as a maid at a luxury hotel. The salary wasn't much, but it was enough to get by until she could find a job in her field of study. Rebecca had a degree in education, but she lacked experience in the area, which made it hard to get a job in her profession. Her daily routine at work was simple, and she even enjoyed what she did. She made beds, cleaned everything, disinfected, and made the rooms smell nice. The hotel was 5 stars, and its guests were very wealthy. She knew how to be discreet and arrange the rooms beautifully, as the hotel required. When she arrived at work that special day, she was told she needed to clean a VIP room, reserved for a very rich man named Adam Campbell. He paid monthly to keep the room exclusively for himself, even when he wasn't in town. He claimed the room had the best view in the hotel and didn't want to risk another guest staying there. Rebecca was chosen to attend to Mr. Campbell exclusively, doing whatever he asked. She would be at his disposal for all room service needs. That day, a co-worker was assigned to help her because, since the room had been closed for some time, the cleaning would be more demanding. Martha, the co-worker assigned to help, said while making the bed with her, "Rebecca, you're a lucky person. This Mr. Campbell is so handsome." Rebecca, smiling, replied, "What does my luck have to do with his looks?" "Everything." Martha responded and continued, "Imagine getting to serve a man that good-looking. Just thinking about it gives me chills." Rebecca, laughing even more at her co-worker, replied, "He's probably married." "No way. The women here already checked his records. Single, handsome, and rich. Can you imagine? Every now and then, he brings a brunette and a blonde, but one at a time. These rich guys are no good." Martha concluded. Rebecca smiled and continued her work. In the afternoon, she was called to the room to attend to a guest request. She knocked on the door, asked for permission, and entered. Mr. Campbell was on the balcony, accompanied by a beautiful brunette woman. "Sir, what can I do for you?" Rebecca said. "What's your name, miss?" Adam asked. "Miss, sir, my name is Rebecca," she replied. "I'd like to order something to eat. Can you take the orders?" She wrote everything down and left. After a while, she returned with what Adam had ordered. He thanked her for her efficient work and said, "This hotel keeps getting better. Not only are the staff efficient, but they're also beautiful." After speaking, he looked at her with a different expression. Rebecca left the room as quickly as she could because she found Mr. Campbell's behavior rude. She thought to herself, "What a bold man. I'll have to pretend I don't understand his advances. I always get myself into trouble." The next morning, after he left the room, she went in to clean. Suddenly, he returned, and she was surprised. "Sir, I'll come back later to clean," she said. "No. It'll be a pleasure to watch you tidy up my things." He finished speaking and sat in a chair facing the bed, where she was straightening the sheets. Rebecca felt uncomfortable with him watching her every move. "Are you from this city, Rebecca?" he asked. "No, sir." "You haven't been working here long, have you?" "No, sir," she replied curtly, wanting to end the conversation. "Why are you a maid?" "A woman as beautiful as you could be anything she wanted. You're really beautiful, you know that, Rebecca?" At that moment, she made a face of annoyance at his advances and said, "Sir, what do you want by saying these things? I'm here working because I need to. Not everyone is rich. Some people have to work honestly to make a living, and I'm one of them." Instead of getting upset, he smiled, stood up, and left the room. She breathed a sigh of relief. She had managed to stop his advances, at least for that day. The next day, she learned he had left but had mentioned he would return soon. A month later, he came back, this time with a stunning blonde woman. When Rebecca was chosen, as before, to serve Mr. Campbell again, she asked if Martha could take her place. However, she was told that, since she had a college degree, it was more appropriate for her to attend to him. As soon as Mr. Campbell arrived, she was called to his room. This time, the woman was the blonde. When Rebecca entered, he smiled and said, "It's so good to see you again, Rebecca. You're even more beautiful." She smiled politely and asked, "What can I do for you, sir? Can I ask for anything?" He continued, "I want you, Rebecca." As he spoke, he moved closer to her, close enough for her to feel his breath. "I've spent this whole month thinking about you." At that moment, she forgot about needing the job and lost her patience, saying, "Do you think just because you're rich, women are at your disposal and everything good in the world belongs to you? Aren't the 2 women you bring here enough? I'm not part of the perks this hotel offers you, and I won't accept your advances." Instead of getting angry, he laughed loudly. Then he called the woman on the balcony into the room and said, "Miriam, this is Rebecca, the maid I told you about. She thinks you're my girlfriend." The woman, hearing this, smiled and said, "Rebecca, I'm his sister. I love the comfort of this hotel, the beautiful view, and the excellent service. That's why, when my brother comes to stay here and our sister, Jean, isn't with him, I take the opportunity to relax in this place." Rebecca, after hearing the explanation, felt embarrassed and blushed. Miriam, noticing Rebecca's embarrassment, said, "But don't be embarrassed. I heard what you said, and my brother really is hitting on you. He spent the whole month talking about how interested he was in you and that he would win you over no matter what. And more, Rebecca, he's a determined man, used to getting what he wants." After Miriam's words, Rebecca took a deep breath to calm down, but with the unexpected revelation of Adam's interest in her, she was nervous. "What was it that you wanted?" "Wanted?"
"No."
"What was it that you wanted to eat?"
"Eat?" "No."
"What was it that I should write down for the kitchens?" Adam and his sister laughed at her. Adam, to ease her nervousness, said, "My name is Adam, Rebecca, and I'd like you to go out with me tonight after your shift. Will you accept?" His sister nodded for her to say yes. After thinking for a moment, she said, "Yes, Mr. Campbell, I mean Adam, I accept." The night was beautiful. It seemed tailor-made for that special moment. Adam waited for her in a spot away from the hotel to avoid complicating her work. Dinner was at a candlelit restaurant with soft music playing in the background. He was the perfect gentleman and confessed he had fallen for her the first time he saw her. As the days passed, Rebecca couldn't help but give into the affection of a charming, kind, and caring man like Adam. He didn't pressure her to fall for him right away. He knew how to win her over with kind words and gestures. Adam had to return to his business and couldn't visit the hotel for about a month. Rebecca missed him and realized she was in love. She wanted him close, flirting with her and whispering sweet words in her ear, telling her he loved and desired her. When he returned to the hotel, she welcomed him warmly, saying she had missed him and that the days had dragged on without him. Rebecca was completely in love and devoted to the man who had won her over in such a special way. That night, Rebecca, in Adam's arms, admitted she was in love with him and that he made her happy. At that moment, Adam took a small box from his pocket and opened it. It was an engagement ring. Looking seriously at her, he said, "Rebecca, it took me a long time to find a woman I truly loved until I saw you for the first time and fell for you. I know you love me now the way I've always wanted to be loved. Will you marry me, my love?" At that moment, she cried, not out of sadness, but out of happiness. He hugged and kissed her, knowing those tears were the yes he had been waiting for. A few months later, the two got married, and his 2 sisters were the bridesmaids. The wedding was a stunning event and widely talked about among the wealthy. In the major newspapers, the headline read, "Wealthy man marries hotel maid."